Expand your awareness on society, culture, relating the path of transformation, and live life with your soul fully aligned with God. You have arrived to the Steve Experience Podcast.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Steve Experience podcast. And so, on this podcast, I'm bringing back on my partner in love, Katya. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm very fine. Thank you for asking.
Pleasure to have you back. So, this one will kind of be a bit more of a didactic chat about the I am consciousness and the higher self, which are essentially the same things. I'd like to give a bit of a overview introduction to Katya and I and my background a little bit. And Katya, I think she's explained this on one of the other podcasts as well, but her background is yoga. She knew about the higher consciousness and the higher self before I met her. I kind of introduced her to the I am language. She was never my student or anything, just to give background. We just met in a cafe in Prague a couple of years ago now and started our love with one another. But we were willing to be kind of students of love and students of each other. She's taught me yoga. She's taught me how to clean the kitchen better. And I've given her a few things about the I am self. So, it's an exchange how we have it. So she's been using it for the first time a bit more in the last couple of years. So I wanted to bring her on to have a chat about how she integrated it a bit more into her self-care and life, essentially. Yeah, this is the point of this podcast. And so we're going to chat around what the I am self is and what higher consciousness is. So I'll go to Katya on this and ask her to give her background of maybe before she met me, of what she was using to work with her higher self, and then how that changed in the last couple of years.
I would like to say that also with the yoga background, there is this regression therapy based stuff which I'm doing and also doing with my clients and doing with myself. So coming into it was more about clearing the energies and being aware of what my mentor told me, and I think it was all connected. But the higher self thing, or how I was connecting with it, it came very naturally to me after the experiences of that work with her. So it was changing constantly, and then I realized that. But yeah, when we started to be together with Steven and he were introducing me all of the other things, it actually brought me the higher perspective of view and also different language. So in the beginning it was a little bit confusing, but then I had to I found my way how I am using it. Is it answering what you ask?
Yeah, I think when I was first introduced to this by my mentor in 2015, 7 years ago, it was a new concept for me then when she was using this I am language. And really and she will say the same to me, and she still has it on her website. Her website's roseoflight.com if you ever want to check her out. But she will say that it's the higher self and the I am are essentially the same thing, and it doesn't matter what language you use to label something. It's really about the intention and the energy that you command with it, with your voice, because the voice, she was making more clear to me, that these calls out loud, such as divine plan aligned I am, are very powerful when you say them and when you clear the energies around them, and when you do the inner alchemy to rise in more alignment with your divine plan. And so there's lots of different tools that originate and sprout out from the seed of the I am. You have to kind of think of this tool set that's got at the core of it is this I am language. The reason why we're using and my mentor using and I use for my students the I am language is in English anyway. It's very simple to use. It's the alternative for doing something like divine plan aligned I am when you're calling yourself into alignment, calling your entire being into alignment with your divine plan. You could say something like divine plan aligned I am, my higher self is aligned now with my soul. But there's just a shorter way of saying it and it becomes more simple with the language and very more clear, and it seems like my whole soul and my whole being understands what I am saying when I use the language like forgive I am, which is a process to do forgiveness with your higher self so you can alchemize things. It's just a tool set to connect with your higher self. Have you seen this tool set sort of grow as you started to use it? And do you see it as a set of tools now that you navigate your life with?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I would just like to say that what was confusing in the beginning was because as I am not native speaker, I mean in English, I had all the time this like higher self, I am self. What is it exactly? But then I experienced, even by me calling those sentences or those tools, that this is one. It's like oneness. So I am basically talking to my higher self. Because I have the different, I am very visual. So when I talk to my higher self, I see her. I'm saying it's her. So I'm seeing her and I'm communicating with her about what I am experiencing, or what I really checking if I am aligned with. But then, of course, since I started to use those tools, and I'm totally with when you say out loud those sentences, and it's like motivating you even to really go more into it and understand how simple but powerful it is. And what I experienced the most while using those tools is definitely bringing me more inner power, in a sense of understanding that I am a powerful being. So this was probably the most crucial for me.
Yeah, for me, the I am is one of the ultimate ways to do many things, but the core things are processed soul experiences and bring your soul on the journey that it wants to go on. So, using the I am self and the calls and the tools that we use is the most, for me, the most powerful way to drive yourself forward as a soul in a human body. Now, there are, of course, other elements of healing that need to be done, such as, body work and inner child healing and stepping up in your divine masculine, divine feminine, and holding this holy trinity within, which that takes a lot of work on itself. But you can't simultaneously work with the I am self. Very simply, I can give you a very easy key for anyone listening, is to start saying at the beginning of your day, divine plan aligned I am. I can put more details about this call on a link next to this podcast and below this podcast. Just check it out. And there'll be more details on what that call means and how important it is to start your day with it. And then if you want to learn more, then sign up on my newsletter and I'll tell you more about the I am. There's a lot of stuff on the Heart Initiation website, which I have. So how, for you, Katya, have you used it and seen the difference in processing soul experiences, perhaps with that Forgive I Am call that we've done together and that I do with clients? We did in a workshop in the Czech Republic last summer. This forgiveness process. What can you describe a bit what that's like?
Yeah, it's really a powerful one in terms, even when you use it for something big, but even when you use it for something small, because there might be certain kind of thoughts or certain kind of habit which we are in the repetitive mode, and they might be not really healthy, or you might think or feel that you already out of it, but it's still coming back and forth. And with this forgive I am, or with this tool of forgiveness, it's helping you to actually let it be. And it's like, for me, the process of letting be the past. So whatever it past brings you or reminds you, you can let it all out or let it go, because there's no point why to go back into it. And this tool is definitely helping, and it could be with the deep process of your trauma, but it could be, as I said, something what you do daily, like some little maybe unhealthy ritual or unhealthy thought. And also, I think what it really helped me, because through certain of like practices in my life, through yoga and regressions, energetical healings, and everything what I'm doing, I found the topic of, let's say, the core of my trauma, or what I have to or had to really experience. And that tool helped me to forgive myself, in the sense that I could forgive also anyone who were involved through it. Because when I forgive myself, there's nothing else what I would be like triggered by. Even I needed to do more often this, or I had to repeat it. But yeah, I think it can really take something even from the not only as a thought or experience or situation or the trauma which you remember, but also from the physical body. It's really, really powerful.
The key again with this work is the divine plan, because my mentor said it to me at the beginning, and I found out for it to be a truth for me as well. So therefore it's a truth in reality. You can go and discover, you can find out if this is true for you by going on a journey. And that truth is that the higher self, the I am self, holds the divine plan for your soul. And so those two things have to connect. You absolutely have to connect with your I am self. If you reject it, as Jesus said, he built with the cornerstone that all of the other builders rejected. He says that in the Gospel of Thomas and in another verse in the Bible. And it's really important to remember that, well, my interpretation of that is that the cornerstone is the I am self, because most people reject the higher self. They don't even know it or want to know it. And that's dangerous, in my opinion. It's really dangerous for your soul. And your soul really wants to connect in with your higher self, because that part of you has the divine plan for your life. And so there is alchemy that's needed to be done to be more in alignment with your divine plan and with your higher self. And it's like an adventure. It's literally like climbing up Mount Everest. You have to figure things out for yourself. You have to become more self-aware. You have to know how to clear energies. You have to know finger dowsing, or have a mentor that knows finger dowsing, so you know you're 100% clear on things. Because this is what I do on the online course that I have, is clear energies for people, because I can clear the astral, so can Katya. So there's other people out there, you may be listening, you might be able to clear yourself just fine, but the average person can't, so they need some help with that. So you send these energies back. You become more aligned with your divine plan by offering forgiveness to whoever it is in your life, whether it's yourself, the government, Bill Gates, or whatever it is. Because, there's a lot of people out there that our higher self needs to forgive, let alone our souls. And when you do this process with the forgiveness via the I am, your whole being is offering forgiveness. That's why it's so powerful. It's not just an ego-based thing where you send a forgiveness note to someone. No, your whole being releases the forgiveness 100%. And when you do that, you stop experiencing the problem that you had before. It's transmuted into gold, and your soul can go on to the next experience. That's why it's so incredibly powerful. And it's why, the I am is mentioned throughout the Bible. as the place to reach truth and God. So it's all very important work. So, Katya, earlier you said that your I am is when you visualize it. I don't really visualize mine, but you said it was female. It was an interesting point, and I think, it can be whatever it is for you. My mentor and myself, we tended to speak about the soul being the feminine, kind of innocent part of ourselves. Obviously, you're going to see your soul as feminine, but the higher self normally takes on more masculine qualities in terms of integrity and unconditional love. But that can be embodied in a feminine presence. You can just imagine her as this strong. I mean, I'll ask you to describe what she looks like in a second. But this, strong, vibrant, warrior type, maybe feminine presence that has these masculine qualities in her being. I mean, how would you describe your I am?
It's very beautiful for me. So thanks for this question, because I always like when we connect, and it's very beautiful for me now to have the opportunity to even share it. Yeah, I think as I'm calling it still internally, my higher self, but when I am using tools, I am using these I am tools. But when I see her or when I'm communicating with her, I have this sense of presence that she is the higher self. Yeah, she is a woman. She looks like completely actually like me, but there is, I would actually come to the point where maybe some of you work with this kind of like tool, future self, of your future self. Maybe you write a diary to your future self or something like that. It could be very powerful technique, but for me this is some kind of higher than this future self, but it has this linked into it. And I see her completely perfect. She looks like I look, but she's having some little differences which I don't feel present in my presence yet. But as Stephen said, she's very, very powerful in her presence, but in a different sense that you would see powerful like a warrior. She's actually so powerful in the sense how relaxed she is, how she's all the time smiling, she's all the time laughing, she's in the abundance of being happy or being so natural, so pure, so stable in what she is. And anytime we interact or we talk, she's actually laughing at me because sometimes I have some things I'm communicating or I can't figure it out. And for her, it's like, or for that presence of as I'm seeing her, is so funny. She's just giving me very, very simple tools or very, very simple answers. And the presence is very radiant. So it's like a sunlight within her or something like that. And I feel very light, her presence, and very, very also wise, but simple. It's very simple and in the same time very powerful.
One visualization I'm getting when you speak is these I am selves, they can't fight each other. Now, I can't fight with Katya's I am, so my I am cannot fight with hers, or I can't fight with anyone else's, because it's purely connected to God, purely connected to our heart. Whereas the souls down here, because we're in this reality where there's more bumping up against each other and there's separation going on as we try and figure out the truth of what is happening in this reality. And it's difficult for some people to acknowledge what the truth is, but the ones who are on the path of truth, they're going to stand up for their truth. So there's more of this bumping around with souls, and the souls can fight a little bit more, but they can also love a bit more. It's just a different kind of experience, and this duality of the I am self and the soul is actually an extremely beautiful thing, and only God could have created something like this to actually experience, because it's pure heaven. I would describe it as when you get to know yourself on these levels. And yeah, is there anything you wanted to say about that? Because I can't see that the I ams would fight each other.
It's actually a really good point because it came or I have the experience and memory when, for example, in, as I would say, in here or in this 3D reality or whatever, we had together some, I would say, I don't know, like we could argue or something, and I could be a little bit of processing it in my own time, and I couldn't really find in this 3D realm what is it exactly, if is it me, you, or whatever. But actually, when I step back and I am going to be again connected to my higher self or to my I am self, as I am very, very visual, I could also see the Stevens. And I think I met him a few times. I'm saying him because my visualization is maybe more concrete as he is a man. And many times I had that sense that our I am selves or the higher selves were meeting, or I could see them both. And there's never ever fight. It's always, one could be a little bit like, let's say, in distance, if there is the distance between the communication of your 3D self, let's say, to your higher self. So there could be a little bit distance, and you are maybe looking forward to meet you or meet yourself again. But the other one is never in fight with you. Actually, when you connect with your higher self, you immediately connect, if you are open to it, with the other one's selves, and then the selves are together.
Yeah, the concept, or for me, it's not a concept anymore. It's a living reality. Is that it's your God self. It's your highest possible self. In animal terms, I could see my higher self and interpret it as an eagle, because the eagle can see so much from its viewpoint, and that's what the I am can do when you sit and rest in it, rather than sometimes in the chaos of the soul, or when you've done the processing of forgiveness, as I mentioned earlier, and the other processes you can do with the I am tools. You're no longer sitting in the chaos of the soul, and the I am and the soul just communicate with each other, and therefore you become a channel, a clean channel for your own self, but your highest self. When that channel is not clean and your heart's all messed up and you're still going around in circles with blaming, shaming, and taming other people for what's going on in your reality, rather than taking it the bull by the horns if there's some chaos, taking responsibility for what is going on your reality, telling the truth, not lying. If there is some conflict, then come to it with some kind of peaceful resolution through the truth. If two people are confused about what the truth is of a situation, they need to talk about it. And if they can't talk about it, they need to ask someone else to help them to talk about it. So that's happening on a scale at the moment with the world. It's happening in family relationships, clearly, with all the stuff going on in different countries right now, Ukraine and America and all over the place. There's this communication of truth that needs to happen from the higher self down to the soul. If it doesn't happen, it keeps going around in a circle until it's done. And a lot more people need to do the work, so that the inner work, so this clarity of mind and heart and soul can come through from the higher self. So I'm calling that forward from all of the souls and the higher selves on the planet now, because that's what we need here to resolve the next part of this evolution of consciousness. And if we don't do that, then, it's going to be pretty hard. And for the people who are awake and are doing the work, thank you for doing the work, because it's extremely important as we transition out of chaos, darkness, and practical insanity on this planet for eons to a pure place of creation with the divine rather than against the divine, and creation from a place of harmony and peace with the planet and each other. That's what we're talking about here when we do this alchemy. As above, so below. But that means you got to do the work in this below realm to create what is above, which is now pure heaven when you connect in with it, because the space is so clear. It wasn't very clear 7 years ago, but now it is clear, thanks to people doing the clearings of the astral realms to get us in this position where we can do this work with ease and grace. Very grateful for those people. And so I have a question for you, Katya, around creation. How have you found creation the last couple of years different from before, when you're creating with both the higher self, the I am self, and the soul in a union with each other?
I would go back a little bit into something interesting you said when you said that actually there is this soul experience, and when the soul is not connected to the higher self or to the I am self, it's actually dangerous. I realized that even before many years I was doing my yoga practice, I was traveling the world, I was experiencing all of the ecstatic dances, rebirths, a lot of ceremonies and stuff like that. But I was still not really fully connected to the higher self. So it was actually a bit dangerous because I was creating something which was not fully healed, or I was still circling probably in something which was not fully healed, and it was attracting actually a little bit more of mess, and I was really not grounded. So I had that process which was linked into the time we met, and I started to also use more of those tools of myself really ground or being more grounded as a woman, as a little bit differently than probably just through yoga practices, because all the yoga and meditation, which are amazing tools, are also taking you kind of all the time high or being higher, which is amazing, but you also have to have the practice how to fully ground yourself. And then shamanism and all the women really helped me to go through it. And then with those tools, I understood that when I have balance into being open up, but being also fully grounded, uh, and connecting myself to the higher self, to the I am, it is giving me the experience of pure creation. And that means pure creation without unnecessary thoughts, without thinking too much or overthinking, because as my sign is a Virgo and I have the tendency to do this, or I had this tendency, it's like it was easy. But when I have those tools, I think, I feel, and I perceive that the experience of creation is just a natural thing. It's how it's supposed to be. Then I have more visions what is going to be next. I am flowing easily through the life, and I still have my practice as a yoga practice, as other practices, but it's more like one package, I would say. It's all aligned.
Yeah, alignment is the key. When you align with your divine plan, everything starts to flow towards you that you need. And when you lose attachment to what your ego or some other part of yourself might want or desire, you realize that everything coming to you is at the right time, at the right pace, at the right moment, so that you can create things that are in alignment with divinity or your divine plan. If things hadn't happened in the last few years, or since I started my awakening journey, which was 10 years ago, so 2012, I wouldn't have created what I've created, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. There's also a precision about this work with the divine plan that you can test on your body, or if you have crystals with the dowsing method, a yes or no, you get an answer from the universe when your body and your soul becomes a channel for the correct yes and no answer. So you start getting truth on your body. I can ask, is it divinely aligned for me to go and do this certain thing, meet this certain person, do this podcast? What podcast topic should be? Should I go and write another book? There's precision to it. And when you have this precision, which is normally a masculine trait, I guess, and this feminine creativity coming together, there's a union. And pure nature, the trees, the animals, is created from this union of the divine masculine, divine feminine. So when you create that in your own life with the precision of asking the universe, is this the correct thing to make today, then you become even more in alignment and the things more start to flow. Just the wheels on the car that you're driving through life become more and more aligned, and you're always on the right path at the right moment, and there's never any problems, no matter what is going on in the world or around you, because you're on the right path and you're living your purpose. You're with your right partner, and you're building your own version of heaven on earth with you and your people around you and your friends and your family. So yeah, it's a very powerful tool to start using, is the I am. And if you're moved by the conversation and want to learn more, then I would sign up with my newsletter, and there's information about that on thesteveexperience.com or Heart Initiation, where it's the newsletter, heartinitiation.com. This is the stuff that I'm most interested in teaching about, and you get my free book on the newsletter as well. So yeah, is there anything you want to add about the power of this work, and maybe a suggestion to people who are thinking about what this all means?
As I was even coming from the yoga background, I was very disciplined with myself. So I would say the strong attitude of being in this masculine energy of like ruling, let's say, my life was always present. So I didn't have struggle with being in the discipline or being in that sense. But without it, I think there's no possible of having some consistency. If is it consistency of your practice or making decisions, but also it's really, really important to be connected to your intuition, like following the feminine inside. And then if you are not really connected to your higher self, it might not really work, because you might feel or think that this is the intuition, but it might be not. So for me, the power is in the beginning, cultivate your practice. It means be in the beginning, if you have none, or if you know that you are not the type which is really like ruling the life, step first into your masculine, do your practice, be little bit military with yourself for certain time. And then once you clear yourself enough, because this is involving body movement, this is involving some type of diet, maybe some fasting, detox, whatever it needs to be done. And then after it, you clean yourself more, and the intuition start to speak naturally. And then you might even be interested to have those tools more, because of course when your body or your lifestyle is a mess, then those topics are maybe too high. But once you start, as Stephen said, the in the below realms, when you start in the 3D realms, when you do those movements, you have the practice, and after that the intuition speaks. Your higher self will speak even naturally, because it is prepared for you. It is here for all of us. And this is what we are saying here. Everyone can reach that if they really are willing to do something.
Yeah, I think we've given enough to think about, to mention for anyone who's interested in regression therapy or online yoga training from Katja. She's 500-hour Agama coach, and she's one of the best out there at regression therapies, and so she offers her work. Do you want to tell them about that a little bit?
Yeah, you can definitely check out my website, which are katarinalove.cz, and you can find it in English as well. And my classes, if you want to be in a yoga class, I'm basically doing it online. It could be private class or even the group class. It's about the alignment as well. And the regression therapy, we usually start with certain kind of meeting when we are talking a little bit, meeting each other, feeling if everything resonates, and then the basically first session is about energetical clearing. It could be done online, it could be done via phone, so there's no problem to it. I'm just basically feeling everything very, very well. So we go through the energetical clearings or cleansing. I can recommend some tips, diet, yoga practice, whatever it needs to be done. And then if there is a call to go deeper, then we schedule the regression therapy, and it's depending what is your topic. Sometimes it could be 1, 3, 5 until 20 sessions, depends what it really needs to be done. So I'm looking forward to meet you. If you're interested, just check out my website.
Yeah, so blessings to you on your healing path, whichever you choose, whether it's one of us or somewhere else. You know, God's got all of our backs, and there's only love and truth as the lattice work of creation here, and of course justice, which there's a lot of justice needed to come through in this reality, and will do over the next months. So I'm looking forward to all of those things, the triad of love, truth, and justice coming through. So blessings to you on your journey. If you want my work, there's the steveexperience.com with links, and also heartinitiation.com, and then katarinalove.cz for Katja's work. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for listening. Blessings to you all.
Thank you for listening. If you love this podcast, please share it with your friends and family. Much love and deep blessings to you on your journey. We can't wait to see you on the next Steve Experience podcast.